Hi everyone, and welcome to the Economics in Action podcast, where we explore important ideas and topics related to economics. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the idea of a winner-takes-all market. The idea of a winner-takes-all market can be traced back to the 1980s when economist Sherman Rosen published a groundbreaking paper titled The Economics of Superstars. In this paper, Rosen examined extreme inequality in rewards received by individuals in certain professions, such as sports and entertainment. While his focus was on individual rewards, his analysis laid the foundation for understanding winner-takes-all dynamics in markets in general. The concept was further examined by Robert Frank and Philip J. Cook of Cornell and Duke University in their 1955 book, The Winner-Takes-All Society. And I'll discuss them more in depth a little later in the episode. But those are its ability to describe so many economic phenomena we see in society, the fact that it fits within the standard assumptions of economic theory, and that it shows that sometimes market forces lead to situations where society's best interests are undermined by the outcomes of the market, something that isn't often mentioned by free market proponents. So let's dive in and first talk about what a winner-takes-all market is. Sherman Rosen basically wanted to answer the question of why it is that in some markets, such as music, movies, and sports, we see tons of competition but only a few superstars rising to the top, as well as taking home the bulk of the rewards. Thus, why do artists like Taylor Swift get such a majority of listens on Spotify each year? And also, why does she make vastly more income than someone lower on the list, but still a great singer? Rosen attributed the skewed output of these superstars to technological advance. The internet and broadcasting allow services in some markets to have aspects of what he called joint consumption. That is, the ability to be listened to, viewed, or consumed by many people at the same time. This is also known as a non-rivalrous good in economic parlance, and it has the characteristic of essentially zero marginal cost. That is, once Taylor Swift records a song, most of the cost, such as the recording studio, the engineer fees, digital mastering, etc., are already paid for. Then she can send it out to millions, if not billions of people around the world without it costing a bunch of extra money. And this is the key point. Because everyone can listen to a Taylor Swift song at the same time, superstars like her can service the entire market for music. This is different to your local top-rated burger joint that when full on the weekend might have you go somewhere else to eat because there's just not enough room to fit everybody. But everyone can enjoy Taylor Swift songs at the same time, although her concerts are a different story. As to why superstars like Taylor Swift make so much more income than other talented but not quite as talented musicians is because of imperfect substitution of demand. I can easily substitute listening to Taylor Swift's songs for any other singer, but it wouldn't be an equal substitution. Listening to the top Taylor Swift songs is for many much better than listening to the 10 best songs of 10 other singers. Those minor differences in perceived quality lead to massive differences in income. In The Winner-Takes-All Society, Frank and Cook expand on the story by citing what they claim to be the biggest ills of the burgeoning winner-takes-all markets. The first is that too many people strive to compete in these markets. In other words, a misallocation problem. Too many people are chasing to become the next Taylor Swift instead of going into a career that is more realistic, and for the authors, less of a waste to society. The argument can be summed up like this. If people stopped spending their time auditioning for America's Got Talent and instead studied chemical engineering, we'd have a more productive economy. But a question arises, which is why do so many people vie for these top spots in highly competitive markets when we seemingly know the chances of us gaining those few spots are slim to none? The first reason is an oft-cited concept in behavioral economics, namely overconfidence bias. We overestimate our abilities relative to others and therefore make irrational decisions. Perhaps also because we don't know the extent of the competition or the level of expertise out there. Even more than that, however, there are negative effects, what's known in economics as negative externalities, associated with more and more people putting their hat in the ring and vying for these top spots. That is, with each additional contestant, the probability of getting a top slot is reduced. Think about traffic congestion. I drive to work because for me the benefits, aircon, comfort, listening to my own music, outweigh the costs, gas prices, wear and tear on the engine. However, when somebody makes this choice, everyone else is also harmed because now there's more traffic on the road. The second problem that the authors point out in the winner-takes-all society is that these competitive processes can lead to ever-increasing costly endeavors that contestants take that result in no overall benefit for anyone. This is a key insight and focus of the work of the authors, which touches on the downsides of Darwinian selection processes in animal groups. Namely, that as everyone takes measures to get slightly ahead and edge out their opponents, an equilibrium is reached where conditions are much worse than they would have been had this intense competition not have taken place. The authors cite an example of the ever-increasing promotional efforts of best book seller rivals who need to do more and more spots on early morning TV to get the word out. However, this eventually becomes the norm, and even though it's costly to the individuals who are exhausted by the end of the book tours, they are now no better off than before because everyone else is doing the book tours as well. So not only are too many people entering these markets to compete that would be socially optimal, but they are also investing more and more costly resources to compete. In many ways, the argument is similar to the ills brought about in the orthodox economic concept of monopolistically competitive markets. Most firms, think Nike, McDonald's, Starbucks, sell similar but slightly different variations of a standard product. They spend millions to accent these differences in national ads, money which could have gone to socially better uses. While there is a cost imposed on consumers in the form of higher prices, we have more choices. Similarly, winner-take-all markets, which Frankencook concede could be more aptly called those near the top get a disproportionate market share, lead to some benefit. Consumers get a lot of choices and the quote-unquote best of the bunch. However, do the best truly deserve all the spoils and the rest very little? In his book Success and Luck, Frank explains, quote, "Is the Mona Lisa special? Is Kim Kardashian? They're both famous, but sometimes things are famous just for being famous. Although we often try to explain their success by scrutinizing their objective qualities, they are in fact no more special than many of the less renowned counterparts. Success often results from positive feedback loops that amplify tiny initial variations into enormous differences in final outcomes." End quote. This line touches on what the authors see as another adverse effect of winner-take-all markets: income inequality and issues of fairness. They use Olympic athletes to illustrate the fact that differences that can't even be accurately measured, such as the milliseconds in racing events, can lead to outcomes where the winner gets million-dollar endorsement deals, but second and third place winners are virtually forgotten. While they concede that the markets can deliver fairly distributed income gains, when one's talents and efforts roughly correspond to the pay people take home, winner-take-all markets tend to inflate these marginal differences well beyond what people would think is fair. For example, a CEO of a large bank might have extraordinary organizational and managerial abilities and work a demanding and stressful schedule, therefore making them deserving of a salary multiple times that of a normal bank teller, but most likely not 300 times greater or more, which is typically what they get. So is the winner-take-all effect really a society-large issue, or just a small aberration? Harvard economist Kenneth Galbraith's criticism of the issue is that while this phenomenon surely exists in some markets, namely sporting, where the system is designed to suss out clearly defined winners, in many markets we just don't see this taking place. Think computers, cars, or corn. In these markets, numerous companies compete and survive, and there is no quote-unquote best. Tesla's rivals are piling on, and everyone is going to get a slice of the EV market. Even so, I think the winner-takes-all phenomenon is useful for explaining what is going on in many areas in society, and done so using the standard insights and principles of economics. For example, some winner-take-all markets, like digital production, are best explained by supply-side dynamics, the fact that near zero marginal cost in production mixed with these economies of scale is going to lead to a situation where one product, producer, or service dominates. Then there is the demand side, where network externalities play a role in markets like sports, movies, and books, where the more users or viewers there are, the more valuable the product or service is. Think Facebook. This is a concept I can talk about more in depth in another episode. Thus, it's a situation that highlights the fact that markets, while solving some problems, can lead to less desirable outcomes in other areas. It's also important because it touches on one of the reasons for greater income inequality. This is an issue that I think has huge implications for societal stability and the capacity for us to solve common problems. It has been mentioned in numerous settings as a source of the discontent in the population that has led to the radicalization of politics and the division in society. Increasing competition in spheres where there is only one winner gets amplified by social media and can make people feel that not being a winner means that they are the opposite. This process can lead to marginalized groups coming together and adopting radical and dangerous attributes and solutions to problems. I hope you enjoyed the episode and found this topic as interesting and impactful as I did. If you like this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave a comment telling others what you thought.